So I'm going to be walking you through how to get results out of Google Scholar in a quick and efficient way. So if you have spent any time on the Google Scholar website, you know that getting results out of this database, it's really not easy. So I'm signed into my Google Scholar account just to demonstrate. But what I would have to do if I were to not use some sort of third-party software, which is what we're going to be doing today, is I would have to go in one by one and be saving each paper and then exporting them that way. And when you're doing particularly systematic reviews, scoping reviews, the result numbers for each database, they're very large. And so this suddenly now turns into this very complex and irritating task of, clicking through 200 different papers to try to get them out of the database. So we are not going to be doing that. Instead, what we're going to be doing is using a software called Publisher Parish. Publisher Parish is totally free. It's a really great software program that can do a lot of different things. People will oftentimes use it to track their output if they're in academia. But what we are going to use it for is to search Google Scholar. And when we are done, we are going to have one file that we can export out very quickly and easily. So once you've downloaded Publisher Parish, and I'm going to leave the link for how to do that below, you will go here and you'll notice that there are a lot of different options of things that we can search through, but we are going to select, obviously, Google Scholar. You will have to dumb down your search. And by that I mean, if you look here, you notice that we only have two fields, two lines in which we can search. One is title words and one is keywords. So this means that whatever your research question is, it now has to only have two different concepts. So as an example, maybe your research question is, does chocolate affect mood? If that were the case, you would have two concepts. Terms for chocolate, that's concept number one, or terms for mood, so that's concept number two. And what this means is if you're using a question or you're doing a question that, for example, follows the PICO format or has more than two concepts, you have to boil it down to just the two most critical and most important concepts. You're going to do a little bit of experimentation where, for example, you might feed the words for chocolate into this line and the words for mood into this line. And then if you're not satisfied with those results, you might swap that and put those up here. And I'm going to show you an example of a search that I did. So this is what I mean when I say that you're going to dumb it down. You are going to really simplify it here because there is a character restriction. So you can't have, pages upon pages of terms. And the best way to deal with that is to, for example, instead of listing out post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorders, etc., you just put the word post-traumatic because this is going to capture every phrase where this word is included. You're also going to notice that we don't have any ors here. We have these little lines instead. So you want to go ahead and take every or and replace them with these lines. We don't need any ands because that's kind of baked into these different fields as they're anding those terms for you. And I'm also going to link below in the description box. There's a published paper that gets more into how to craft these types of searches, and it actually has examples as well in the supplementary material. So I'll include that to give you some guidance as well. Now, it is standard practice to take just the first 200 results from your Google Scholar search. And this is because Google Scholar searches tend to balloon. They have a lot of results, and obviously it's very common in systematic and scoping reviews to have a lot of results. Embase alone might return 2,000 results. But when I say balloon, I mean that Google Scholar might return 20,000 results or 200,000 results, just a totally unmanageable number. So it's completely fine to just get the first 200. And to do that, it should automatically be set here under maximum results. But if it's not, go ahead and click that and set it. And if you want to bump it up a little bit, you can always do that. Put in your terms, click search, it will pull back the results, and then you're going to go over here to save results, click that, and you will click or select your output style. Very, very common to use RAS files. Those are readable by Covenant, Zotero, EndNote, Mendeley, all those important programs. But you can, of course, switch it to something else if you like. So you'll click that, and it will just save it as one thing. You don't have to be clicking 200 different times. It'll be all set. One thing to bear in mind is sometimes people aren't one and done with their searches. They kind of fiddle around with it and they're clicking this button quite a bit. It may prompt you to do the whole I'm not a robot thing if you're doing, a lot of searches in a row. And then on top of that, sometimes it limits you. So if you did I don't know what the number is, but let's say you did 70 searches in a row, it might stop you and say, that's it, that's your limit, we're not going to let you do any more searches, in which case you would just come back to the software another day and try again. So it's just something to keep in mind. But that's it. So you just download Publish or Perish, you simplify your search, and then this is the crucial part, click Save Results and save it as a file. And that should save you a lot of time.